We've got a classic and popular Sunday Night Football matchup against two good teams this week. And we got all the best numbers, all the best props, and a preview and predictions of the entire game.
Sunday Night Football.
I am 8-1 straight up, 6-3 against the spread, and 6-3 versus the over-under when it comes to predicting these primetime games. Here at this channel, at America Sports, we're on a little bit of a hot streak. Will this continue or will we fail all of you? Well, stick around to find out. The 2-2 Dallas Cowboys are on the road. They're traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the 3-1 Steelers. Pittsburgh is favored by 2.5 points with the over-under sitting at 43.5. As always, we start off with the weather report, and there's about a 50% chance of rain, and there's even a slight chance of some thunderstorms happening that evening. And it will be in the low 50s and a cloudy night with the wind gusts of about 14 to 15 miles per hour. To me, a bunch of rain is exactly what Dallas does not want in this game. Dak Prescott and Justin Fields have played each other one time, and we are in a much different situation for Justin Fields as he's on a brand new team and they're winning. But Dak is 1-0 against Fields. Even though they lost, if he keeps doing what they did in the last game and keeps up the winning, which the Steelers normally do, they're going to be in a situation where Justin Fields is their quarterback. They got both of these guys for very cheap. I can't believe that the Steelers were able to do this. So, hats off to Pittsburgh. And the difference with Pittsburgh, which is maybe what they needed, is Justin Fields is a mobile quarterback. And they really haven't had that. Yeah, Big Ben could scramble and could do a lot of things, but he wasn't a fast guy, obviously. So this brings a whole new dynamic to the Pittsburgh offense that they've just never had before, really. When it comes to Dallas, Dallas has been up and down. I'm not in love with their rush game, and I think that is going to hinder them a lot this year. Otherwise, the rest of the roster, I think, is pretty solid. Let me know in the comment section if you are a Rico Dowdle owner in the fantasy. If they use him more, I think the rushing game could get better. If you need a running back, if you got injuries or bye weeks, whatever, keep an eye on Rico if you don't already have him. Leagues should have him, though. I mean, he is their leading rusher at the moment in time. However, with that said, I'm not a big fan of the rush game overall. They are dead last in rushing yards per game. And keep in mind, this is a team that normally has a very, very good offensive line. And really, just a couple years ago, they had maybe the most dynamic running back duo, especially when it comes to touchdowns. I think they were up there with Detroit for the most rushing touchdowns of the season. If my memory serves me correctly, though. I'm old, so bear with me. Their defense has also given up 26 points per game. Now, they have played a couple of good teams. New Orleans and Baltimore are two of the top scoring teams in the league right now. But they also played against Cleveland and New York, teams that really don't score that much. All right, guys, let's look into the injury report. This is where Dallas runs into the problems. Their injuries are key injuries. On defense, you got Trayvon Diggs, questionable. I think he's going to play, but we don't know. Ankle injuries can be tough to navigate through. And then the big one, Parsons is probably not going to play. Another guy in the secondary, Carson, is also questionable to play. Then on offense, you're missing your wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, who had a quiet 8 receiving touchdown year last season. And then for Pittsburgh, Alex Highsmith, the linebacker, is still out. They're hoping that he's going to be back in the next 2 to 3 weeks, probably more on the 3-week side. Also, defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi is questionable. But for the starters on offense, it's squeaky clean, man. They are healthy and ready to go for this one. I'm sure they're going to get up for this. On paper, this is not looking good for Dallas. Let's hit up the props and see if we feel better.
Game props.
For anytime touchdown scores, Najee Harris is the only one with minus odds. Dallas gives up a lot on the ground in rushing yards. They even give up more than my beloved Bengals do. So expect Pittsburgh to run the football and expect Dallas to try to run the football, but I don't know how well that's going to go. Najee Harris is over-under for rush yards is at 66.5, and he did not do it in the last game, but he has gone over that in the first 3 games. So I wouldn't be mad if you win at that at all. I do like that one. And literally, as I spoke that, it went up to 67.5 for Najee Harris's rushing yards. Over for receiving, we're going to look at the receptions real quick, and I like Jake Ferguson over 4.5. He's done it every single game that he has played in, so I would expect that to continue, especially with Brandon Cooks out. I wouldn't be mad if you thought Jake Ferguson would be due for a touchdown in this one either. It does seem like Ferguson is very due. Another guy that might seem due to you is George Pickens. For the receiving yard over-under, we got a bunch of them here, and I'm excited on a couple of them. And it's two that I already mentioned, Jake Ferguson and George Pickens. Pickens has gone over that 53.5 in 3 of his first 4 games, and I feel like him and Fields are establishing an even better connection. I mean, those kind of things do take some time. And then when Ferguson averages 53 yards a game, I do think he's going to get a bunch of targets again, and I think he's going to go over that 45.5. If you wanted to go for a different Pittsburgh receiver, then I would say Freiermuth. Dallas is going to let you run the football, though. Just think Pittsburgh is going to make a point to run this thing. For passing yards over under, Dak Prescott is sitting at 240.5, while Justin Fields is at 186.5. By the way, I think the game is going to go. I think Dak is going to hit the over here, because if Dallas is going to have success, they're going to need to pass the ball, because running is not going to be super great in this one for them. The Cowboys have picked off everybody that they've played against so far except for Lamar. So I wouldn't be mad at you if you put Justin Fields to throw a pick in this one, especially considering he's my fantasy quarterback this week, so it'll probably happen. Especially if Diggs does play. So I would go over with the Dak 240.5, and I would just stay away from the Fields one. He has been hot, though, so I'm not mad at you if you were with the hot hand. I've given you pretty good hints as to where I'm going with this one. I think it's going to be a slow game. I think it's going to be a run and a defensive game for Pittsburgh. And for Dallas, they're going to try to throw it, and they're going to try to run, but I don't know how much they're going to go to it. I do think this is a big Rico game if Dallas could run the ball, and Pittsburgh also very effective at stopping you from scoring in general, but the rush and the pass. This game is going to be a very close one. The injury to Parsons really affected me here. It's a Steelers game and it's on prime time, so I like TJ Watt to be very effective, and I like this to go under. You guys knew I was going to say that if you've been watching. I'm going to roll with the Steelers. I'm going to roll with the home favorite. I would not be taking the points. I would just be taking the money line, but for this video's sake, I am going to say that they cover, but I'm really looking at a 21-20 or a 23-20 type of a game. And I also think the kicker Boswell has a good game too. I mean, that guy's been solid for years. And Aubrey has been like the best kicker in fantasy football, maybe the best kicker of the year, but kicking has been very good this year. Yeah, the kickers are going to play a big role in this one. But yeah, guys, let me know some of the picks that you guys are thinking in the comments section below. I would love to hear what you guys are thinking about the game as well. Don't you hate when YouTube channels tell you to like and subscribe to their channel when you haven't even watched their video yet? Like, why put that at the beginning of their videos? That's a huge pet peeve of mine. Like, bro, I haven't even watched the video yet. I don't even know if I like your content yet. Anyways, carry on. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Like and subscribe for more of America's Sports. So until next time, guys, you'll catch me in the next one.